Hey guys, I'm Ted here to give you another fast fact. And for this fast fact, we're going to discuss the corporate lawyers of the Supreme Court. To really get to the corporate lawyers, we have to look at the presidencies of Grover Cleveland and the presidency of Benjamin Harrison. Between these two men, they appointed five justices, five very conservative justices on the Supreme Court, all five of whom were former corporate attorneys. The first that we'll look at is Stephen Fuller. Stephen Fuller became the Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court with the death of Chief Justice Morrison Wade. Grover Cleveland, who himself was a noted conservative Democrat, nominated Stephen Fuller, who was later on confirmed by the Senate. Now, Fuller was a staunch conservative. He was a staunch Democratic conservative. He had served. He had been around since the Lincoln administration. He had denounced the Emancipation Proclamations. He denounced Lincoln, and he really denounced all the other progressive initiatives of the 19th century. He was also a very loyal lieutenant to the corporations, to his corporate employers. And he began to set a judicial tone for the protection of big business. Now, President Harrison likewise did the exact same thing. Harrison was equally conservative, and in his lone term in office, he appointed 4 justices to the Supreme Court, all of whom, as I stated earlier, were corporate lawyers. The appointments were David Brewer, Henry Brown, George Shiras, and Howell Jackson. Neither of these men were really well distinguished. David Brewer is perhaps even now he still holds a distinction as being, if not one of the most conservative, then the most conservative justice to ever sit on the Supreme Court. And Brown, Henry Brown, his one really big claim to fame was in writing the majority opinion in the Plessy v. Ferguson case. And that opinion in that case is generally considered one of the worst, if not the worst, in the Supreme Court's history. But this ascendant majority, these 5 justices, will go on through the rest of the late 19th century and the early 20th century to really just set a very conservative, pro-business atmosphere for the Supreme Court. And they very early on and very quickly flexed their new judicial muscle, their new judicial power. Most of their cases were decided on a 5-4 slim majority basis, in which they overwhelmingly always sided with big business. But that is our fast fact. Hope you guys learned something new. I hope it was exciting for you, learning about the shaping of the court and how the corporate justices sort of influenced the destiny of the nation by being pro-business, by being openly and outwardly pro-business. As always, I'm Ted. Hit like, subscribe, and comment, and let me know what you thought about this lecture, about this fast fact. Sorry.